This is a missionary, same as I was. Taught the wrong
Yeah, we heard.
Alcyones.
You are ready to give a confession?
I was not prepared. Rest.
I am ready to hear one from you.
What kind of sucks is I didn't have a way to build my guys up either. That sucked. Since I like to have my guys all in a certain area, I don't like having my squishies surrounded.
You are...
So I'm wondering if I can get my other two guys on the big dudes and then
How did you
deer
find it?
on him.
Another in a string of acts of petty defiance. For all her knowledge, she always preferred spite over reason. Hear me, Woodica. Rock 10!
I can just outright attack him though. We already heard the dialogue. Okay. You to him. You two back here.
What?
You over here. Alright. Moonbeam. Boom.
Yeah.
Shoot him.
How may I help?
See if you can sleep him. How long does that last? 8 seconds. 8 seconds. Enough to ride a bull. Disintegrate.
Yes?
Not working out. That's too big of an area.
Yes?
Summon one of your happy friends. Okay.
Need something?
I need
something?
you to... Oh, should we tornado? Tornado him.
Lafaru, Peon!
Damn! I don't know if I can still hit him or not, but come over this way.
Let's go!
That's not very helpful.
That.
Got him! That's it!
He's a toughin'. Disintegrate.
Yes?
Cast that. Shoot. I don't know. I don't know if I went that close. I'll do a small.
Beyond sea.
That one's about gone. Oh dear God.
What?
Big heal.
Following your lead.
Summons. Oh. Summon some ogres. Right there. Disintegrate. Alright, one down. Uh-oh. Okay, cast it on you. I think my druid might go down.
How may I help?
Oh, let's see here. What can you do to help? Throw that on you. I think we gotta focus on these guys. He just like rezzed all the way back up.
Following your lead.
Druid down. Druid down!
Nabaru beyond sea.
Ow. Ooh, let's
Yes?
see here. I already got that going. Put it here. Get my ass kicked.
Great.
Shit! Hana's down.
What?
Can I risk him getting any closer? That's the problem.
Yes?
A little bit further back.
How may I help?
Oh, your buddy's gone. Summon your buddy again. Right there.
Huh?
Mow it.
What are you doing?
Nabaru beyond sea.
My tank is gonna go down. I can't keep him healed. Endurance is too close, too. Shit. They just took out my tank. It's barely any of us. I don't think we're gonna get this to work. This headsman just won't go down.
Huh?
Maybe it's better to go after Theos.
What?
Okay, so Durance. Resurrect the tank.
I?
Let's see here.
Mow it. Ixiana.
Okay, tank up.
Huh?
All right.
Mow it. Ixiana.
Yes?
Big hit. Man, he is just going down so quick.
What?
I said he's going down quick.
That's not very helpful.
I think this might be the final fight.
I bet. What?
Let's see here.
Yeah.
The Watchers target this very essence of the creature, and their next attack bypassing the target's defenses, leaving him weakened. So I need to wait till maybe get about my disintegration going. I'm gonna cast that on him. This is my last big heal.
Yes?
Can I stun this dude?
Yeah.
Worth it.
Oh no!
Breath Uligna.
Leave it. You're not getting through me.
Oh god, it just did it to him instead. Okay, so let's sever soul.
Mow it.
Yeah.
I think I cast it. Disintegrate. Oh, he has full life.
Mow it. Pixie.
Huh?
Disintegrate. Gonna lose a deer, I think, or Aloth. I'm gonna lose him here. You're good there. You're good
What?
there. I need you to get that off of him.
Breath.
Oh, we killed him.
All those lifetimes spent to preserve a single vital secret.
Disintegrate or something got him immediately.
Can't imagine having that much certainty.
I hope this is the end, but what's to stop him from being born again with the same ill intent? And before you suggest the option, no, I'm not eating his soul. I'll put almost anything in my mouth. But not that.
Okay.
Some point, you have to look at the things your God is telling you to do and ask yourself if it's worth it.
All those lives. And at the end of them, he was no better than the very
Should have
people
finished
he
by 10.
sought
I would
to
think
guide.
so.
A pity you would ever have to face that realization again.
Explore soul. With a deep breath, you plunge into Theos' soul, where the Brackenberry had been a maze of narrow corridors and dead ends, and now it's expansive and borderless, its walls crumbling to heaps like the ruins of Engwith as you pass through them. Travel for what seems like ages, rushing to unknown destination, a memory you glimpsed once before. At last you see it, no more than a pinprick of light at the end of a long tunnel, expanding slowly at first, then quickly as you near. You come out in the room and you're standing in now. This will be your it's new and pristine and filled with people, thousands of them, all turned towards the great Adra pillar and the machine that encases it. Theos stands at the machine and you're one with him now. You look at the crowd and faces shriveled old men and cherubs-cheeked little girls and mothers bouncing infants to quiet them, and fathers clasping their children, restless hands, and watching you with a somber acceptance. A woman with tears in her eyes gives you a small nod. You turn back towards the machine. Your breath constricts beneath the weight of the unwanted knowledge. Preparing yourself to set out alone on a journey without end, you close your eyes and open them again and find the machine still in front of you, beckoning. Take your place in front of it and place your hands upon a large mechanical disc at the base of the great crystal column and speak a single word. Giant rings creak to life. building speed, setting arrays of carved draconic mouths aglow and sending tremors through the platform. The entire room shakes now with the force of the accelerating machine. All sound drowned out, deep, deafening thrum. Brilliant tendrils of light arc outward from the pillar in all directions, and you look over your shoulder and see them engulfing the crowd, burning them brightly like hot iron. One by one, the tendrils disappear, leaving ashen effigies where people once stood, many of them disintegrating into the gray heaps under the stress of tremors. You look above the Adra pillar. Its glowing spherical mass has begun to coalesce atop the column, where the arcs converge. It grows and pulses, translucent and bulbous, like some immense chrysalis, suspended in a slow rotation as though they were being spun from the arc of light. When the last arc disappears, the spectral mass hangs a moment, no longer rotating. So bright, you must shield your eyes with the outstretched hand, and it seems as though it is looking at you. You bow your head in acknowledgement and look back up to see it melt into the pillar like a warm candle wax. Oh my God, I can't read. Warm candle wax. Pillar flares and the flash of light, bright as the sun itself, then fades into darkness. Hey, Pablo. You love this one and the second one? I have never played the second one. This is the first time playing the first one. The machine slows down. Abrupt halt, and the last echo of grinding cogs has passed. The chamber is still. You are alone. From all sides, reality begins to bleed through the memory, and you find yourself your own skin once more, looking down at Theo's lifeless body. That birthday's treating me rough. It is. Told you earlier I was stroking out. Apparently it's working. It's continued to affect my reading. You sense listlessness in Theo's soul, an overwhelming fatigue that hinders an immediate escape and makes it vulnerable to manipulation. You feel as though your victory has given you some kind of hold over it. You're able to do it with you please. Return to the cycle. You'll remember this, Theos. Remember that no man can hide the truth forever. Tear his soul apart. I do not envy you. I, of all people, realize the sway of memories can hold. It's time you are granted peace. Let's do that. I could banish him to Berith Eamon. No longer be forgiveness for your deeds, only justice. You shall escape judgment no longer. I wonder if we should banish him. Destroy all memories contained within. That's could be undone. I'm going to banish him. Well, yeah, we'll banish him.
You've let him off too easily, Watcher. I would have left such scars on his soul that he'd have begged escape from the wheel's turn.
You regard Theo's soul still and subdued. Your pronouncement seems to empower your spirit with will seems to you now as thick chain. Wind around Theos, constraining all movement, eliminating any possible last means of resistance. Call to mind the eternal prison, a vast empty cavern and its cells of Adra. Vacated the souls and choose to betray themselves in order to escape an infinite abyss of hope and self-reflection. Choose a vacant pillar. Pour your consciousness into it, creating a perfect, inescapable hollow of space for one. You now gather up Theo's soul and bear it into the pillar, like some bodiless jailer conjured by justice itself. You can feel the resistance now, an abject terror radiating from it, but your bindings will not be broken. When at last it is sealed away, you begin to recede back to your center. You swear you're distant toward this cry for mercy. The stillness that follows, a single word echoes through your mind. A word you've spoken to you were the ones with Theos in ancient memory. Realize that it's the word that activates the machine. Everybody wants to talk to me.
Theos, he had hold of your soul from a long time back, seems like. You get what you needed from him?
I got justice.
Not many can say that these days. Not with the gods using the world to settle their problems. You'll be feeling better soon then. Good. That's real good. You got it figured out what you're going to do about all that?
Not yet.
Got a lot of people out there thinking they've been abandoned by their gods. There's not much that'll put the fear in you more than that. You can take my word for it. If it was in my power, and I know it's not, but if it was, I'd find a way to give them the courage to face it. Not because they think there's some god looking out for them, but because they've just got it in them. And after what you've been through, though, I'm sure you got your own ideas. Better make it good.
Okay.
We've come to the end of it, my friend. It has been an honor to walk this road with you, and I will regret our parting.
Oh, we got a part? It's all choked up. He can't tell me. I will not stay in Roatai long. I think if it means to change, I'll see there's nothing I can do to stop it. But there are many places yet to see, mysteries to unravel. While I cannot say I aspire to match your fierceness, I cannot deny it saved us on so many occasions. I thank you. All right, here you go.
Victory looks good on you. There was a blur about your soul that lingers no more. Seems putting Theos to rest has given you some measure of inner peace. Of course, now you need to decide what to do with these trapped souls.
But I speak out of turn. This is your decision, my watcher friend. I should trust you and your own instincts. I'm honored that I have a part of your journey, regardless of what happens next.
Ah, the end of the road greets us at last. You fared well, Watcher. Better than any Watcher has right to. Seems you were a field in need of a flame's cleansing. But with that trial's end, a new one begins. A god's trial. And I will stand in judgment without mercy.
Now, I wonder, do we get these same companions in the second one?
Astounding. I always knew the Leaden Key stood for something big, but I didn't quite realize what I'd gotten myself into. And now, you're in the middle of something even bigger. With a decision that will affect millions. This is beyond either of us. The certainty of the gods is a mercy. Power like this is a heavy burden. Just look at how it crushed Theos. And perhaps he was right to surrender it to Woodaka.
Maybe so.
It's your decision, of course. And whatever you decide, I'm glad our paths crossed in Gilded Vale.
All right, guys. With your companions bearing witness, you step up to the place where Theos once stood for his people long ago. The great machine lies in front of you, idle, ready. I've seen this machine and others like it in operation. You understand how it works. It's a device for directing souls. As a watcher, it could be a simple matter to influence the direction. Though as big as the machine is, maybe it'll be the last thing you ever do. Command. So, okay. If we return the souls like we're supposed to, and all these people are dead, did they go... Do the souls go back just to the dead people? Do we resurrect the dead people? Are they dead in the grave and they come alive? Then they suffocate and die? I'm assuming they're just dead, but we're gonna return the souls to the bodies. You close your eyes and they expand your perception outward. taking an immense totality of the tens of thousands of souls orbiting the chamber. Grasp on the soul is tenuous, and you find yourself fighting to keep them all within your influence, and you could feel them slipping away as the machine gains speed. In a brief moment, hey, congratulations, game complete. Okay. A brief moment comes, and it feels you hold on to them at once, and their force is so great, it feels that they'll tear you apart. In that moment, you dedicate your entire being to bending their orbit, channeling their flow in a new direction.
At your command, the ancient device became your instrument, spinning to life with deafening resonance and gathering up the swirling essence like thread on a great spindle. There, in the pale, pulsing glow of the machine that set you on this path long ago, you summoned all your strength, focusing on your objective and blocking out all else. With a single concussive blast that rocked the chamber and sent you tumbling to the ground, you freed the souls from their stasis. Exhausted, your consciousness slipping away, your last sight was of the machine, dark and dormant. Then your eyes closed, and sleep welcomed you at long last. After coming to and searching for some time, you discovered the route Theos used to enter Sun and Shadow, and embarked on a long and arduous ascent back to the surface. You emerged in Terra Evron after days of tunneling through the rubble Theos had left behind, and when you stepped into the daylight, you were faced with a different Deerwood than the one you had left. At your direction, the souls diverted by Theos were guided back to the vessels originally meant for them. For the first time, parents of hollow-born children woke to the cries of their infants and looked into their eyes to see them staring back. People fell to their knees where they stood, thanking Helia or Mogren or even Aethys for their forgiveness of whatever guilt they felt they bore. But for all the relief that had come to some parents, others only found new grief. For many thousands of Hollowborn had died during Wideone's legacy, many by their parents' own hands. For those children, there would be no homecoming. Yet the last Hollow birth was in the past now, and those parents willing to risk trying for a new child were frequently rewarded, often with twins. Many felt they saw Helia's hand in it, and the year would be remembered as the year of Helia's splendor. Though you had killed Lord Radric in his throne room, so strong was his drive to rid his land of Aethasians that he returned to life as a death guard, a deathless crusader
Yeah, we didn't
for
kill
his
him.
brutal cause.
Again.
With the remains of his humanity stripped away, Radric came to see all the people of Gilded Vale as worshippers of Aethys, and one day he led his forces into the village personally to see them all purged from his lands. Gilded Vale was left a hollow shell, its buildings ruined, and its people slaughtered. Even travelers and would-be squatters knew better than to take refuge inside its borders. Lord Radric returned to Radric's Hold, where he remained, keeping eternal watch over his barren domain. Following the assassinations of Duke Avar Wolfgren and Lady Webb, Defiance Bay was thrown into political upheaval. In the ensuing weeks, the streets had become the domain of looters and blackguards. Few dared to step outside their own doors alone or unarmed. But order was soon re-established by the Knights of the Crucible, who, despite their depleted numbers, had gained favor in the public eye for their role in the unraveling of the conspiracy surrounding Wideone's legacy, and were quickly reinforced by returning forces from Fleetbreaker Castle. For the Knights, their resurgence marked a return to the tradition as well. Having seen firsthand the dangers presented by dabblers in animancy, the Order quickly abolished the practice internally, preferring the familiarity of their hammers and forges to the uncertainties of Essence and Adra. Their identity rediscovered, the Knights suppressed their political aspirations and began once again to train their recruits in the art of blacksmithing, recapturing the post-revolutionary ideals of Deerwood and regaining the respect of its citizens as a result. Though the machine atop Ter Noaneth had been disabled, it had not seen its last use. Heritage Hill was rebuilt, and no sooner had the first families moved in to resettle the district than members of the Leaden Key, acting under standing orders from their Grand Master, climbed the tower and reactivated the machine. The initiates slew a handful of the new settlers under cover of night, and watched as history repeated itself, the victims reanimating and devouring the survivors.
What?
After this second incident, the district would remain abandoned. The Duke's assassination at the apparent hands of an animancer had caused catastrophic rioting in the streets of Defiance Bay.
It did.
But those who had escaped the melee in the palace hearings remembered the testimonies of the strange guest who had shown up that day and absolved animancy, implicating the leaden key instead. The rumor spread quickly, and soon the popular belief was that the assassin had been a leaden key spy. When the legacy had lifted, people came to see it not as a sign that the riots had been according to the gods' wishes, as Theos had hoped, but as a confirmation that animancy had never been the source of the problem in the first place. Deerwoodans instead convinced themselves that the riots had somehow purged Defiance Bay of leaden key spies, and that the end of Whitewind's legacy was their well-deserved reward. The rage against animancers was quickly forgotten, and those who had survived were permitted to return to Brackenberry Sanitarium and rebuild it so they might resume their studies. Obsidian's renewal brought new vigor and purpose to a god long known for quiet, steady labor. Handicraft saw a revival in the Deerwood, and no smith wanted for an apprentice. Additionally, Obsidian's restored interest in preservation led to redoubled efforts to survey Engwithan ruins. Animancers and craftsmen alike found much to study, but tensions with Aer Glanfath rose. As for Stalwart, the Battle of Caron's Scar only strengthened their resolve to unlock the mysteries of Durgan steel and build new marvels with the White Forge. However, Stalwart's ambitions brought them into further conflict with the Raid Serens, as more and more impoverished communities gathered at the border.
I don't mind this, because it's going over everything that you had influence on.
It would be many generations before the region saw peace. The Flames That Whisper clan found a cautious peace with Stalwart, particularly once the villagers heard of the aid the ogres had offered against the Eyeless. The clan moved back into the Russetwood, and as Stalwart grew in prestige, the villagers formed a tighter alliance with their ogre neighbors. Within a generation, ogre traders visited Stalwart, and village hunters were welcome in the Russetwood. Maneha never found the salt well, but she found a kind of peace in her duties as a gift-bearer, and in the ebb and flow of her journeys. As she traveled and accepted burdens from Andra's supplicants, she saw in their eyes a kind of peace that she had not previously noticed. It was faith, not that Andra had freed
We can
them
do
of
this
their
over
pain,
all of
guilt,
our
and regret,
companions?
but that she would, a little more each year. With that realization, Maneha learned to accept that Andra's ways were as gradual as they were inexorable. The fortress of Cadnua emerged as a bastion of security in the midst of an untamed land, becoming the envy of every thane and earl in Deerwood. Legend grew over time of its impregnability, and stories of formidable invaders easily scattered by the keep's defenses became popular around the hearths of Deerwoodinians. Likewise, it also became a beacon to travelers, merchants, and visiting dignitaries alike. Reputed as the finest fortress in all Deerwood, people would journey from near and distant lands alike to experience its fabled hospitality and grandeur. Pallegina had missed the opportunity to complete her mission from the Duke's Bells.
Didn't do it.
The Deerwood's trade with Aer Glanfath remained weak, but the Valian republics were unable to enter Glenfathan markets. For her repeated insubordination and loss of lucrative trade, Pallegina was cast out of the Brotherhood of Five Sons. She traveled north of the Eastern Reach, where she tried to avoid trouble as a caravan guard, but she could not escape the strange looks and unwanted attention her appearance brought. Adair chose not to return home to Gilded Vale. Still most comfortable far from cities, he settled in Deerford, which, like many towns in the Deerwood, was beginning the slow process of rebuilding. Believing now that it was the obligation of Kith to be the leaders their gods had not, Adair was soon named mayor of the town, and under his guidance, Deerford soon began to prosper.
Good.
He expelled the last of the Scanites from the area and drew new settlers with the offer of land, a trick he had learned from someone he otherwise preferred to forget. With each passing day, Deerford would come to more closely resemble the gilded vale of Adair's childhood, the one worthy of its name. When the dust settled in sun and shadow, Aloth looked upon the remains of Theos Ix Arcanon, his former master. He saw where the Grandmaster had gone wrong, and he knew what he would do better. The secret of the gods would be preserved, and with it, the sanity and well-being of all Kith. He donned the remains of Theos's ceremonial garb, and prepared himself for the long and lonely task ahead. With the Watcher's goals accomplished, and his own vows fulfilled, Kanarua sailed back toward Rawatai, thinking on the lessons his travels had provided him. By the time he landed at Tekoa, he understood what his path must be. Standing before the Lore College, Kanarua explained that the tablet he sought had been destroyed, and so a true interpretation of the Tonvi Oratoa could no longer exist. The people of Rawatai would have to create their own. He described the many strange things he had seen in his travels, and announced his intent to pursue the accumulation of knowledge abroad, seeking answers to new questions. True to his word, Kana soon set sail on yet another expedition, and in Tekoa, his passionate accounts inspired many to follow in his footsteps. With Theos defeated and the souls released from sun and shadow, healthy children were born once again in the Deerwood. The grieving mother sought a place where she might do penance for the birthing bell. She returned to Deerford, where, to the astonishment of the villagers, she delivered the first healthy child in over a decade. She remained there, and with each new birth, she saw a measure of hope restored to the Deerwood, and a measure of grace for her own troubled past. Durrance continued to blame Woodica for the atrocities of the Saints' War.
He's kind of crazy.
Believing Magrin to have been a pawn in the machinations of the Queen that was, and feeling that Theos's expulsion had been a step towards reconciliation with his goddess, Durrance tried for a time to reopen communication with her. When only silence came, he took it as a condemnation of his continued existence. Ultimately, he built a pyre and threw himself upon it, using his own shattered staff as kindling.
Damn.
You and Sagani never found Persok together. The Adra figurine had gone dark by the time they emerged from Sun and Shadow, and it was another month before Sagani finally accepted that Persok's trail had gone cold again. Her search took her beyond the Deerwood and as far as the Living Lands. She saw the great coastal cities of Rawatai and the ruins of Old Valia, absorbing the details of these strange and distant lands. 20 years passed before the Adra figurine finally glowed again. When it did, she followed its signal to a quiet hamlet on the outskirts of Adir. There, she met a young farmer and told her of her past as an elder of Masuk. Sagani returned to a village that had forgotten her face, but remembered her story. Masuk greeted her with cautious warmth, and Sagani found that their ways had become strange to her. She also learned that Kalu had perished of winter fever a few years before, and her middle child, Najuo, had died in a raid. But she found her daughter Yakona a hunter and mother of 3, and her son Malak a builder of mighty walls. In them, she came to find her place in the village, and the familiar contours of a world that had changed in her absence.
Decades
For you,
away from
the
home.
death of Theos brought an end to your waking visions, and a silence to the whispers of the past. In their absence, you were able to sleep. The questions of a distant lifetime ceased to trouble your soul. All that remained was what to make of the answer. But at the moment, there was little to be done, and the matter would have to wait. A long journey loomed ahead.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. Loved it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad we got this done. So when Avowed 2 comes out, we have a little bit of what the world is like in Eora. So we kind of know what to expect, somewhat. I'm really hoping to see some of the places they mentioned in there. I'm hoping that also we can choose to be like a cipher and have the same type of spells, everything, because I really enjoy the cipher. It's probably one of my favorite classes out of CRPGs that I've played. It's really fun. Man, look at all of these backers. There's so many. Takes a while to get through 77,000 names. Okay, so we're gonna be playing Still Wakes the Deep. We're gonna start it.